I'm with Jay and Halson. Guys, Mourinho, is he coming here next season? Tell me.
Yes. Yeah.
Expand. We're not just, right, that's the video over. Yeah, he's coming. Jay says it. Jay, Mourinho, is he coming? Why do you think he's coming?
It looks like it. It's gathering so much storm, and there's almost every newspaper now is running stories that he's coming. His mates have been saying he's coming. I think his agent has probably been whispering to people that he's coming. Despite the fact that I think there's quite a few people at the board at the high level at United that don't actually like him. Bobby Charlton being one of them. I have my doubts as to how much Fergie actually likes him, if I'm completely honest. I think you can't ignore the amount of stories we're hearing now, and it just seems that there's so many stories in the press about him coming that it's difficult to see anything other than Mourinho here next season.
Halson, is he going to be here? Would you be happy with it?
That's two entirely different, really long questions. One I can answer. Whether I'm happy or not, that's a 20-minute rant. But like Jay just said, there's contracts being leaked. Now, you don't leak a contract doesn't get leaked if there isn't a contract on the table. There's his friends. I mean, you got to question how good his friends are if they're leaking that sort of stuff. There was a lot of talk that he was already coming back at the back end of December. So I think there's so much smoke that there's got to be a fire somewhere. And I reckon it all adds up for me.
Halson doesn't have the talent to sum up whether he likes Mourinho in a 2-minute segment. Jay, do you?
Well, for a few months now, I've been saying that I think Mourinho's the one that could come in here and do a job. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, Halson, for example. I know a lot of people think, he'll neglect the youth system, his attitude is wrong, the old eye poking and all the rest of it. But he's a winner. He brings success. And people saying, he goes to clubs, he wins a trophy or two, and then he leaves. If he comes here, brings us title number 21, and then leaves a season later, I'll be more than happy with that, I'm telling you, because we need someone who can come in here and get us challenging again. We've not been a title challenger since Fergie left, and it's not good enough.
Oh, mate, I was watching some highlights of that Fergie's last season. I just remembered how I felt when we actually won the league. I know that we weren't great, but that feeling when you actually win the league, I just miss that feeling. I love it, man. You mentioned the youngsters there. Do you think that Mourinho would actually change when he comes to Man United in terms of playing the youngsters? Do you think that it could even be in his contract, really, with, like you say, the higher-ups in the board wanting him to play more than Man United way? Do you think he could change?
Well, there was that story about this love letter that he apparently wrote where he said that he would change his ways and he'd play the youth system and he'd stop messing about and being dead arrogant. I don't know how much of that is true, but I think he could, and I think the youth system here is bigger than most clubs. It's more important than in most clubs because of what's gone on in our history, because of the amount of players we've had come through. The youth system here isn't like it is at some clubs where it's neglected. We nurture it, and I know we're going through a few problems with the under-18s and the rest of it, but we do cherish our youth system, and I think that will be something that he has to prove that he's willing to at least give players a chance, and I think that's all we can ask of any manager.
We've got a ridiculous record now, haven't we, Halson, of like a ridiculous consecutive games that we've had a youngster in the squad. Do you think that's under threat under Mourinho, or do you think our youth system can still flourish under him?
Again, it's a complicated question because you don't know if someone's going to have told
Just answer one of my questions, mate.
Shut it. You don't know if someone's told him that you get the job on the basis that you do deliver the identity of Manchester United, if you do protect and honour the heritage of Manchester United. And I hope he would. And it's testament to the club and to the youth system that we've got, that there's been almost 80 years with a youth player in the first 11. And that's because they're good enough. I don't want a player in there because we've got this record to maintain. I want players that are in there because they're good enough. We've got players right now that are good enough to be promoted, and looking at the next few years where you've got like Fosu Mensah, Gomez and all them coming through, there's going to be a conveyor belt of players good enough to come through, Gribbin as well. He's just got to keep giving them the opportunity. That's where I think Mourinho might not go for it, because he will always go with the experienced reserve player over the exciting youngster, and that is my major reservation about him. There's, like Jay was saying, like everybody knows his record. 9 years undefeated in his home league matches. That's an incredible record across how many different clubs. So he's the constant in all that. So there is definitely something in Mourinho. He needs to adapt to Manchester United though, and that is the big thing. And if he does that, he will be a success. Simple as that.
I think some of the older players could have to worry as well. I mean, Juan Mata's a name that springs to mind. Do you think he could be off next season under Mourinho? Because he is a fan favourite, let's face it.
It was a bit of a strange one with Juan Mata. I think Mourinho didn't think him and Oscar could play in the same side and went with Oscar. It's different here. We haven't got that's the same amount of players here. We haven't got someone who can do what Mata does. I think that the best thing for Mourinho to do when he comes here is to give players like Mata, who is a bit of a fan's favourite, a chance. Let him have a chance under Mourinho, see how he gets on. It was the same when Fergie came here many years ago, I think, with Strachan. Everyone thought he was going to get rid of him and he gave him a chance. You just got to give players a chance, and I think Mourinho needs to do that. He doesn't want to come in here and start upsetting everyone by getting rid of fan favourites straight away without letting them at least prove themselves.
I don't know about you two, but I'm quite excited about it, to be honest. I think it could bring some winning ways back to Man United. But anyway, that is part 1 of our Mourinho debate outside Old Trafford. Part 2 is coming next. The link is coming up. Do you think that this is slightly harsh on Louis van Gaal, maybe, if we are agreeing to appoint Mourinho when he's still in his tenure as United boss?
Maybe.